Genius and madness. Two concepts that have captivated our imaginations for centuries. They are so often portrayed as neighbours residing side by side, separated only by the thinnest of lines, a boundary so delicate it's often imperceptible. The wild-eyed inventor, lost in their own world of innovation, the feverish artist, consumed by their creative fire, these images, these archetypes, hint at a deeper truth about the human condition. Exceptional minds possess a unique ability. They see patterns and connections invisible to most, connections that others simply cannot perceive. This heightened perception makes their reality seem alien, strange, even suspect to those around them. This heightened pattern recognition, this unique way of seeing the world, can be isolating. When others can't follow their train of thought, when they struggle to grasp the connections, misunderstanding is inevitable. The profoundly gifted often find their insights, their groundbreaking ideas, dismissed as fantasy, as mere flights of fancy, their brilliance tragically mistaken for delusion. Articulating complex realities, explaining intricate concepts can sound like a break from reality itself, a descent into madness, especially to those unable to see the bigger picture, to those lacking the same visionary perspective. In the psychiatrist's office, under the scrutiny of clinical observation, this fundamental misunderstanding can turn tragic, leading to a devastating outcome, as intricate ideas, complex thoughts are tragically misread as mere medical symptoms. The line between brilliance and madness, that fragile boundary, is often drawn not by objective truth, but by those who cannot see the whole picture, those with a limited perspective. High IQ pattern recognition is far more than simply noticing routines or predictable sequences. It goes beyond the surface level. It's about skillfully synthesizing vast and seemingly disparate streams of information, drawing connections where others see only chaos, and ultimately transforming that data into new, actionable insights. For the gifted, these connections often appear in sudden flashes of understanding. It's that elusive aha moment where suddenly everything clicks into place with satisfying precision. This happens even if the individual steps leading to that conclusion are difficult to articulate or fully explain to someone else. Their minds have the remarkable ability to process massive amounts of data in parallel, simultaneously considering multiple possibilities. This parallel processing allows their conclusions to seem self-evident to them, but the path they took to get there can be incredibly difficult to map out or communicate effectively to others. Imagine seeing the world in ultra-high definition with every detail crisp and clear, while others are only able to perceive the basic shapes and outlines, missing the nuances. This richer, more detailed perception often leads to nuanced and surprisingly accurate, sometimes even prophetic predictions about future events. However, it's important to understand that they're not fortune-tellers relying on mystical powers. They are, in essence, supreme analysts. They are forecasting future outcomes by skillfully detecting deep and often subtle patterns that others overlook. Yet, all too often, without readily available or easily digestible evidence to support their claims, their warnings are unfortunately dismissed as eccentric, unfounded, or even unhinged. The gifted possess the ability to see the small cracks forming long before the dam bursts and the floodwaters arrive. But their insightful observations and warnings can, unfortunately, be easily mistaken for unwarranted alarmism or excessive worry. The real challenge lies in effectively translating a complex and highly detailed vision for those who are watching the same situation, but on a significantly blurrier screen. On the other side of the spectrum, where patterns become distorted and detached from reality, lies delusional disorder. This is characterized by a fixed, false belief held despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. It's a conviction that persists even when faced with facts that directly contradict it. Delusions aren't quirky or eccentric ideas. They're unshakable convictions, immune to reason, logic, or fact. They represent a fundamental break from reality. The difference isn't merely the strangeness or unusual nature of the belief itself, but the absolute refusal to test, question, or revise it no matter what. The genius, even with their unconventional thinking, engages with reality, constantly updating their internal model of the world when new evidence appears and challenging their own assumptions. The delusional mind, on the other hand, is like a fortress, rigidly closed to any form of contradiction or external influence. Outside the specific area of their delusion, these individuals can often seem perfectly rational and functional, making accurate diagnosis particularly tricky and challenging. Their fixed belief remains isolated, unlike the gifted, whose advanced and insightful thinking tends to permeate and influence all aspects of their life and work. The genius's mind is a constantly evolving laboratory, the delusional mind a permanently locked room. Therefore, understanding this crucial distinction is absolutely essential for accurate diagnosis and appropriate intervention. The fundamental challenge lies in discerning whether the mind is genuinely open and receptive to reality, or whether it is rigidly shut against it, trapped within its own self-constructed world. Mental health professionals often overlook exceptional intelligence, leading to profound diagnostic errors. Standard assessments focus on pathology, not on the possibility of heightened perception. When a patient describes complex connections, clinicians may misinterpret brilliance as paranoia. Gifted individuals often display traits, intensity, sensitivity, deep focus, that mimic symptoms of mental illness. Without considering IQ, these traits are easily pathologized. The solution includes cognitive assessment as a standard tool, shifting the question from what's wrong to what might they see that I don't. Recognizing high intelligence changes everything about how we interpret unusual perceptions. History is full of brilliant minds dismissed as mad. Ignaz Semmelweis saw the link between hand-washing and reduced mortality, but his insight was ridiculed and he was institutionalized. He wasn't delusional, just ahead of his time. Vincent van Gogh's art, now celebrated, was once seen as the product of a disturbed mind. His vision was a genuine interpretation of reality, not merely a symptom. Alfred Wegener's theory of continental drift was mocked for decades, despite clear patterns in geology and fossils. Only later was he vindicated. These stories warn us the majority can mistake genius for madness. Dismissing unconventional insights can cost us progress and lives. We must learn from these cautionary tales. Misdiagnosing giftedness as delusion isn't just an academic error, it's deeply damaging. Being told your perceptions are false can shatter self-confidence and trust in your own mind. This form of gaslighting is especially harmful when it comes from a trusted professional. Stigma follows, straining relationships and leading to isolation. Professionally, misdiagnosis can derail careers, with innovative ideas dismissed and unnecessary medications prescribed. The emotional toll is severe. Anxiety, depression, and a sense of injustice can consume a life that could have been filled with achievement. The world loses not just a mind, but the contributions it could have made. The cost of misunderstanding is a diminished human life. How do we protect and nurture brilliant minds? It starts with awareness and education. Professionals must be trained to recognize giftedness and its overlap with mental illness. Cognitive assessment should be standard in ambiguous cases, providing crucial context. Clinicians need intellectual humility. Sometimes the patient really does see what others can't. Schools must identify and support gifted children early, offering stimulation and teaching communication skills. This isn't about elitism, but about meeting every mind's needs. We must move beyond the mad genius cliché and build systems that distinguish brilliance from illness. By listening, assessing and supporting with care, we ensure that the next great mind is heard, not dismissed.